What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, PLL fans everywhere, and of course, OTB Nation? Welcome into episode number 392 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, number 11 Philadelphia ranked, and of course, viewable on YouTube, Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. KB Deej coming at you for a PLL Championship preview edition of the pod. We've got the New York Atlas, the Denver Outlaws. We're recording this bright and early on Saturday morning, which means you have Media Day interviews on this episode. I was lucky enough to be at Media Day representing the pod, representing the company, schmoozing it up with the people. And we have some awesome interviews ahead for both teams. Indeed, should I lob up who we have featured here on this episode that are now technically considered friends of the program?
Of course.
So, from your Eastern Conference champion New York Atlas, you will hear from Jeff Teat and Connor Shellenberger in a duo interview. You will hear from Coach Stephen Brooks and Coach Cino in a duo interview that I must say, one of the most incredible, and I have to say must-listen, must-watch interviews we have ever had on this show. I told Brooksy and Cino during the interview, we need you on the show weekly together for a segment because of how electric they were. And then, to wrap up with the New York Atlas, we have the one and only Danny Logan, joined by the OG. And ladies and gentlemen, we finally got him, even though it was only for 5 minutes, but we got him with his best friend, Danny Logan, Trevor Baptiste. And then, from your Denver Outlaws, the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, in a duo interview, Pat Kavanagh and Mike Manley. Yes, as weird as it sounds, it was pretty awesome to have those two sitting down together. Then in another duo interview, which I believe is my must-listen, must-watch of this collection of interviews as well, simply because it's a player you wouldn't expect because he doesn't get a lot of limelight. Jake Piseno and Nick Grill. I texted in our group chat, Deej, after that interview. Once I got everybody on, and figured out who we interviewed, I said if we had unlimited funds, I would hire Nick Grill on the spot to be part of OTB.
You did, in fact, say that.
That's how electric he was on the mic. He was incredible. And that was genuinely my first time meeting Nick Grill. Like, I've been in the same area as Nick Grill, but he was incredible. As was Jake, and it was awesome having both of the LSMs on at the same time. Then in a one-on-one, we have Justin Anderson, who was just a delight as he always is. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we got him in a one-on-one, number 1, JT Giles-Harris joins the show to round out Media Day. Deej, your thoughts on the collection of interviews I was able to accumulate for this episode?
The same thing I said last year. I hate my day job. Kidding. I genuinely wish I could have been there, but the lineup is insane. We got a lot of really good names, a lot of names that would be a little harder to get a hold of if they weren't there at Media Day. And then also just a lot of different personalities, and then the combinations seem interesting, but kind of the more you think about them, opposites fit very well together, especially being on a microphone or a camera together. So it actually does make more sense that guys like P. Cav and Mike Manley work so well together.
Sino and Brooksy gave the age-old, "Ooh, I don't like hearing my voice in my head like this." And I was like, hey, I podcast full-time, and I don't like hearing my voice in my head like this. But here we are, folks.
Hate it. I literally hate hearing my own voice, actually.
That's how you know you're supposed to be on a mic, though. Is if you
Yes.
hate your voice, you're meant to be in this.
That is the first thing I ever heard when I said that.
And then we also had the end-of-year awards ceremony, which was very, very awesome. And then, of course, the WLL announced that they are going to a full season format in 2026. So we'll touch on all of that. Before we get into everything, make sure you guys are following us on the socials at OTB LaxPod across the board. We're on every social platform. Follow Deej at SCS_NextGreat. Follow Hoots at Hoot Sports Media. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the pod, subscribe to the pod, subscribe to the pod, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. It goes a long way for helping this show continue to grow, helps more people get eyes and ears on OTB, plus eyes and ears on all of our shows here at Underground Sports Philadelphia. So keep subscribing on Apple and Spotify. And, of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia and Outside the Box podcast YouTube channels. YouTube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia is where you get full video episodes of OTB every single week. Plus, you get full video episodes of all the original 6 podcasts on this network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. It's all on our YouTube channel. We are at 1,104 subscribers, which means we're 96 away from our next 100 subscriber milestone. And if you subscribe to the OTB YouTube channel, we are 37 subscribers away, I believe, the last time I checked, from reaching 100, which means the OTB college show, Deej and the Kids, gets going in 2026. So keep subscribing over there as well. And this show, guys, is brought to you by and presented by our friends at Rita's in Sewell. I got to talk to our good friend Joey. His parents are the owners of Rita's in Sewell. Saw him yesterday at Media Day, and he had nothing but glowing things to say about all the ads we've been doing about Rita's, and we're looking to do more with Rita's in the future, which is very exciting. But summer's still here. Technically, we still have 10 full days of summer left, everyone, okay? And you got to go to Rita's in Sewell while you can. 288 Egg Harbor Road in Sewell, New Jersey. Let them know that OTB sent you. Let them know that Underground Sports Philadelphia sent you. Check out all of their delicious treats, from the Italian Nice to the gelatis, the blendinis, the custard, and more. You can go to ritazice.com to see the full roster of flavors and all the nutritional facts as well, just in case you do need to take a look at those. But again, visit Rita's in Sewell, 288 Egg Harbor Road, and let them know that OTB sent you. And we thank Rita's in Sewell for being a proud presenting partner of the Outside the Box podcast and a proud partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. What's poppin', Deej? We are 24-ish hours away, 27 hours away, as we sit here on a Saturday morning from opening face-off of the PLL Championship game. And I am less than 6 hours of sleep getting back from North Jersey and New York. But it was a time. Yesterday was a great day, not only for the pod, but just in general, vibing with the homies. Got to see the boy Diggs tape, Scotty, Lax guy Scotty. How you doing? He's so hyped that this is a quote-unquote home game for him. He is, I said it when we were walking last night. I said, man, it feels good to not be the line leader this year. As Scotty then proceeds to start jaywalking around New York City.
My day job is going to give me an aneurysm one day. I had an okay day yesterday. I mean, I'm excited for another championship. The season just goes entirely too fast. Like, missing Albany just happened, like, not too long ago.
I feel like I was just trekking up to ESPN headquarters for the draft.
And like here we are talking about the championship game and not having to really trek anywhere. Well, I do, but you know, it's still it's a home one for us as well. It's nice not having to drive anywhere to see this, and this seems like it's going to be a generational championship game. It's kind of the vibes I'm getting. Like it's going to be blockbuster. But I think we get a weird championship game. Like halftime, it's going to be like 6-4, but the game is going to end like 1917. like that kind of game.
1917, the critically acclaimed movie.
Yes, that one.
Man, could you imagine 6-4 and then 19? I think Mike and Paul would be doing backflips at midfield if that happened.
And I would be here for it. And I would already be down there to make sure I get video of that.
Facts.
I mean, because then when I try and tell Mike later he was doing it, I'm gonna need to show him like, hey, look,
Mike, why you had to do it to him?
What is this? Who are these people? I don't know them.
That's so funny. Speaking of Mike and Paul, I do want to give a big congratulations to Paul and Vanessa Kirby on the birth of their baby. So Paul Rabel officially in dad mode, and congrats to Mike on being an uncle. Just very cool stuff. So congrats to Paul and Vanessa. But Deej, we got a championship game to look at, and it's really evenly matched across the board. You look at these two teams, they were the number one seeds in their respective conference for a reason. They performed at a high clip damn near all year, and it's eerily similar how they went on their runs to this greatness that they sustained this year. The New York Atlas, like, don't forget, in Albany, almost lost to Carolina in the opening game. They won 10-8, and then they lost the back half of their homecoming weekend. And, you know, in Philadelphia, in the rain, after their bye week, they squander a pretty hefty lead to the Maryland Whipsnakes, and the Whipsnakes beat them. And at that moment, everyone was like, yo, are Atlas cooked? Like, this is not looking good for them. And then they start ripping off wins and wind up 7-3, best team in the East by far. And on the flip side, the Denver Outlaws, they start 0-2, make a goalie change, and Logan McNaney changes the entire complexion of their season, or at least it can be personified that way, because they make the goalie change and they go on a run, and he becomes, you know, we'll get to it, the goalie of the year in the PLL as a rookie. It's just unprecedented territory. And, you know, you look at these offenses, so much similarity of just talent. You look at the defenses, both lockdown, you know, defenses, incredible goalie play. And I think this is no shot at Luke Weirman. The only like advantage, I would say, is, you know, you have a unicorn in Trevor Baptiste on the New York Atlas. But on the flip side of that, when these two go toe-to-toe, Luke's able to hold his own against Trevor more often than not, which is very impressive for him. And it's just like these two teams are just a reflection of themselves in so many different ways. And like you said, this has the makings of what could be an all-time championship game in PLL history.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little terrified by week 2, week 3 or 4. You know, Atlas was around 500 then, and I was like, I said these homies were going to the championship game. It ain't looking good. And then, you know, the Connor Shellenberger Jeff Teat show started. And then you had Liam Entenman going crazy in that. Trevor was being Trevor, and slowly this team blossomed into who they turned out to be this year. It was rough in the beginning, but once they found their stride, they ran with it, and they've been that team since then. They're a team that can jump out to a lead and maintain it for a portion of time, and then still be able to come out with that game even if it gets close. They're a team that can come back if they happen to find themselves in a deficit. They can lead wire to wire. Like they can do everything that's needed of a championship team, and they've been battle tested as well. That's the thing. Like, this wasn't a season where they were far and away better than everyone they played. They had some tough games that they needed will for, and they had to have that I want this more than you do type of attitude. And that's how you win a championship. You're going to need that in a championship game. Like, that's all that game comes down to, is which team actually wants it more than the other one. And if you haven't been tested earlier in the year, that can make it a little more difficult in those circumstances to kind of know how to navigate that situation. And it helps that they were in that game against this team, right? An overtime game. Both of them kind of know how the game can be. So I'm really excited for Atlas, partially because they made me look really smart. And in the other half, excuse me, in the other half, they deserve it. It's been this grueling road for about 3-4 years now of being a top 2 seed and losing in the first or second round, and not being able to get to that championship, and not being able to even have an opportunity to lift a trophy because they can't get over the hump of the Whipsnakes or the Chaos, or I think they dropped one to the Water Dogs as well. It's like, when was it finally that season that they were going to get over that hump and like prove that they are the team that everyone thinks they are? And I think like where my mindset was in the beginning of the summer is kind of where their mindset was. It was like, we're going to lose out on a lot of fans, and like people are going to call us frauds if we don't get it done. Like it seemed like a make it or break it year. Like obviously it wasn't, but that feeling kind of comes sometimes. And that's kind of what this season felt like. And they took a hold of that feeling and they ran with it and created a magical season.
And on top of that too, you know, we talked about Logan McNaney getting inserted in the lineup for Denver and that flipping a switch for them. The Atlas had the same thing when they put Reed Bowering in the lineup. You put him in there, and it just opened up the offense to this new multifaceted level that unlocked a slow start for Jeff Teat, which got Connor Shellenberger going. It gave Xander Dixon more free will to move in and around the crease. And, I mean, Reed Bowering changed the complexion of what this offense was going to be able to do the moment he got into the lineup. And again, it just speaks to how similar these two teams are. And when you brought up, you know, the first time these two teams played this year in Denver in that overtime game, I asked both teams about that in the press conference portion of Media Day, and they gave me two very different answers. And I want to get your thoughts on this. So the Atlas were first. I asked them about it, and Mike Pressler said that Brett Makar did not play in that game, which is a fact. He was injured that game. He said he knows, you know, that Outlaws team has a lot of former Terps that Brett Makar knows very well, and he's been pivotal in the scouting and preparation this week to get ready for what those guys present. And I was like, okay. That's an interesting little wrinkle there that I think a lot of people forget too. And the answer, and Danny and Trevor gave great answers too, but I loved the answer from the Outlaws because they ended up winning the game. That was the game when the Outlaws were on short rest in their homecoming weekend, the final game of their regular season that helped them clinch the number 1 seed and everything. Brennan and Pat said that game taught them everything they needed to know about this team. That game was, yeah, we have the dudes. We have the guys that are in this locker room that we know we can go and do it all with. And, you know, that's our last game. We emptied the tank. It's the same type of thing you have to do in a championship game. he said the biggest thing they learned was we have the guys in the locker room is what they learned from that game. And I was like, that's awesome.
It's about to sound funny. All right. So, like, put it like this. Denver is like Michigan in the Penn State game. They lose Connor Stallions because of everything that goes on. Everybody thinks they're cheating. They go out and they beat Penn State, and they all look at each other in the locker room and go, we're going to win a fucking national championship because everybody in this room wants to, and we have every piece we need to do it. And then they go and do it. That's Denver right now. Atlas is the opposite of that. They're Michigan when they got Connor Stallions. Oh, you can do all of this and like make this happen, and like you don't even really want us to pay you that much, and then bang, like you'll just come and help us, and then we'll get a whole bunch better. Who doesn't like a secret weapon? All right, that's almost exactly what this scenario has become. It's like, does Denver know that they're getting Brett Makar back? Yeah, but like at the same time, they don't know what it is that he's actually providing them on that side. So they're coming in with knowledge that they didn't have the first time, which Denver may or may not be prepared for.
And by that, you mean in a head-to-head sense. Because
Yes.
obviously they have film of watching Brett, but
Yes,
from
but
playing
head-to-head.
against him this year.
And it's like, sure, they played against him last year, but it's not the same. Right. Every player evolves each year, and they have different
defensive coordinator this year too.
Yeah, there's a lot of different tendencies and stuff that change. Like, there's the core things, like Jack Rowlett, for example. Like, he's gonna go for an overhead check. You know that's his thing. But there's also other small tendencies and intricacies of his game that are gonna change year by year. The way he plays his feet work might change year by year. Like that's the kind of things you look for when you watch and play against a guy for the first time in a year. They didn't get that against Brett, so he gets to do it both on field and through the mental game. But it really is, I think it's arbitrary on both sides. It's interesting that they're looking at it from two different perspectives, which makes sense because as a coach, this literally happened to me actually. I played a team, first game of the year, was missing 8 starters. We lose by 10. The second game rolls around, we lose by 1, and it was my fault for not calling a timeout, realistically. So it's like, yeah, they were looking at that first game like, oh, we know everything about KU. We're going to just go ahead and handle them because they're not good enough to beat us. And we're looking at it like, dog, we were missing half our team. Now that our squad is back, it's a different game. And it was. So I think both sides are legitimate in how they're feeling, and it'll play into the game differently. But I think it'll all even out, and it'll just come back to that point of who wants it more.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, you look at the New York Atlas this year, scores per game 13.7, scores against average 12, 137 scores total, 1-point goals 123, 30.4 shooting percentage, 42.8 shots per game, 56.2% on the faceoff, 57.1 on the saves. Denver 13.1 scores per game, 11.3 scores against, 131 scores, 107 1-point goals, 26.2% shooting percentage, 45.5 shots per game, facing off at 50.8%, and save percentage 54.7%. Statistically, these teams are right there with one another across the board. And you look at the PLL Labs like pregame win probabilities right now, the New York Atlas are at 50.4%, Denver's at 49.6%. I don't remember a PLL championship game
ever
to the public feeling like it's a coin flip of who's going to win.
No, it's never been. It's always lopsided in some way. And it may not be a huge landslide. I think a couple of years it's been like 65-35 kind of thing. But it's normally a clear favorite. This year, literally the country feels like it could be split in half.
Yeah, it's
insane. Well, the world, excuse me.
Yeah.
The PLL is a global entity.
It's wild how eerily similar so many like statistical
This is about as even of a championship game as we could get. Like, I'm trying to think of who else could be like this even. I think Water Dogs and Whips is pretty similar.
Yeah.
I think Woods and Chaos is almost right down the middle. Maybe Boston slides in there with
the Dogs.
That trio. I think it's just a trio between Water Dogs, Whips, and Boston of being like basically the same team.
Yeah.
And then Utah was just an outlier this year.
Right.
Weird case going on over there.
Before we get to our interviews with the New York Atlas, I was talking to a lot of people yesterday, DJ, and I said, the PLL Championship games, you look at them year over year, there's always that one guy that you don't expect to be a forefront reason or a part of the puzzle of why that team ended up winning. Who do you think is going to potentially be that guy for New York?
I mean, I think it's Reed.
Because he was that for Utah.
Yeah. I mean, he was that for Utah. And just the way he elevates Jeff's game on that side of the field with the two-man game and the tight finishing he has inside, his ability to play transition on both sides. It's huge. The things he's brought to this team are not slept on, but it's not like all out in front. Like his pick assist isn't going to show up. It's more going to show up in a Jeff Teat goal. A lot of people aren't going to see that, but that's what I see is, Reed Bowering sets amazing picks for Jeff Teat, which really opens up the game for him.
Yeah, I mean, Reed is definitely a very good answer. We'll hear it when you guys hear from Coach Cino and Brooksy. I'm not sleeping on Max Krevsky being a guy that steps up again and is one and gets a huge cause turnover or a big ground ball for this team, or even pushes transition and goes and scores. Like the way that they talked about him and the way that Coach Pressler talked about him after the semifinal, they have a lot of faith in that guy, and rightfully so. He's put on one hell of a rookie campaign for them, and that was a pick that a lot of people were scratching their heads about, ourselves included, for when they picked him. And he's had an incredible rookie campaign, and it would not shock me if Max Krevsky is the guy that we're talking about that flips the script into New York's first ever PLL championship. But I think without any further ado, guys, we're going to get to our New York Atlas Media Day interviews with Jeff Teat and Connor Shellenberger, Brooksy and Cino, and then Trevor Baptiste and Danny Logan. And they are brought to you by our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. Guys, there's no better way to stand out in the crowd with your favorite lacrosse players' favorite lacrosse podcast than with official Outside the Box podcast merch. Go to phiapparel.co. PHI Apparel Company is the place to do it. Get your official OTB shirts and hoodies. Be like JB34 from them California Redwoods. Rep the boys. And go to phiapparel.co. And when you check out, use code UNDERGROUND for 10% off your next order. Again, that's code UNDERGROUND to get 10% off any order at phiapparel.co. And stand out in the crowd with the official merch partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Without any further ado, everybody, here is Jeff Teat, Connor Shellenberger, Stephen Brooks, Joe Cinosky, Danny Logan, and Trevor Baptiste, the OG, on the Outside the Box podcast. All right, everybody, we're here at PLL Championship Game Media Day 2025, and joining me right now, MVP candidate and 2024 MVP of the league, Connor Shellenberger, Jeff Teat. Guys, congratulations on making it to the championship game. Happy to have you on. What's the vibe, going into this week? Obviously had the week off, but what's the energy around you guys playing in your first PLL Championship game?
Yeah, I think a lot of excitement. I think a little anxious to kind of get playing as we're here a couple days early, but yeah, I think kind of a time we've been waiting for kind of all season. So glad we're here and excited to play.
Yeah, I agree with Jeff. I think just super excited. Been a long build up, and even going back to last year, losing the semis, and kind of waiting a whole year to get back to this point, and it's finally here, and we just gotta take care of one more.
What was that feeling? As you guys. Jeff, you've been a part of this team since 2021. What's that feeling that you finally get over the hump? Year over year over year, it felt like it just slipped through to finally get over that hump. What was that feeling like at Subaru Park when whistle hits, clock hits 0, and you guys know you're punching your ticket?
Yeah, I think it felt good. I think in the back of everybody's mind is we got another game to play, and I think especially losing the last couple of years is I think it's part of competitive high level sports, and especially in this league. So. Yeah, obviously excited, and kind of wanted to be here all year. So,
Shelly, you see Jeff win the MVP last year. You're a candidate. Obviously, the awards ceremony tonight. What are some tricks that Jeff taught you throughout the year to kind of find yourself in a position to be an MVP candidate?
Gosh, there's a lot. Just getting to be around Jeff, and we talk a lot about stuff other than lacrosse, but he's by far the best and smartest lacrosse player I've ever been around, and just the stuff that he says, I try to pick up on everything and try to do what he does. I mean, he's the best player in the world for a reason, and I'm just super lucky and thankful that I get to play with him.
Jeff, what's it been like, the past couple of years playing with this guy next to you, knowing the type of player he is, the talent that he possesses, and this year obviously having a full healthy season and seeing what he was able to accomplish? What was it like for you as a teammate and just you guys bonding off the field to see him perform the way he did?
Man, super easy. I think super easy, and I think that's at the end of the day, that's something you can only ask for, and I think it always starts off the field, right? I think you guys, all the fans, all the media, kind of see the product on the field. Success, wins, chemistry, all that kind of stuff, and I think for us it starts off the field, and we have a great relationship, man. We have a lot of fun off the field, and I think that translates directly to us being super flexible on the field, kind of working off each other, and then obviously you throw Xander in the mix there, right? So I think it's kind of a dream come true to play with these two.
What's it like playing for Coach Pressler? He's more reserved in terms of not obviously being as online as some other coaches. There's not a lot of access to him throughout the year. But when you're around Coach Pressler, what's it like being in the room with him? What's it like playing for a coach like him? And what do you think it makes him special that he's been able to lead this group that's full of talent and be able to get you guys to where you're at?
Yeah, I think he's got the experience, and I think whenever we're around him, it's always pretty light, pretty fun. He's always cracking jokes, but he also brings that like calm demeanor, to be competitive and win games, right? So I think he's done an amazing job and his best job to put us in the position to be successful. And I think at the end of the day, all we can do is trust him. And it's worked so far this year, and hoping to do the same on Sunday.
Yeah, I completely agree with Jeff. I mean, I think a big reason why a lot of us want to win this game so badly on Sunday is for Coach Pressler, and he's given his all to us, and that's on and off the field, and I think a lot of us would do anything for that guy. So yeah, we're super appreciative of him, and hopefully we can finish it all for him.
There's one original member of this Atlas team from 2019. That's Trevor Baptiste, the captain of this team. What's it like having him as a teammate and seeing what he's battled through, and being regarded as one of, if not the best face-off player on the planet? What's Trevor like in the locker room, and how much, just like for Coach Pressler, how much do you guys want to go and get this job done for Trevor as well?
Yeah, definitely the best face-off guy in the world. I'd go even further to say, one of the best players in the world. And I think, having him, probably you guys see a lot of him being, fun and in the media and stuff. And, we get to see his, competitive, nature 24/7. And often it comes with smiles behind it, but there's nobody that cares more, about this team, about every single one of us than that guy. And I think, he's the best teammate in the world and best teammate I've ever had. And I don't think there's anybody that, we want to compete for more than him.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor's just like the best dude ever. I mean, like you said, he's one of the best players in the world, probably the greatest face-off guy of all time. And, he just brings like such a fun energy to our team, keeps things light, and then you also have like the competitive leadership style that Jeff was talking about. That I don't know if there's anyone that's more competitive and wants to win as badly as he does. And him, Jeff, and Danny have kind of been leading this thing the whole season, and they've just done an amazing job, helping our team get better every week.
How much of a, I guess for lack of a better term, like a chameleon is Coach Brooks for you guys, adapting to all of your different skill sets and being able to draw plays that fit you guys to a T and make things look so effortlessly to the fans and everybody watching these games. It just feels like, muscle memory almost with what he's able to kind of scheme you guys into. What type of, demeanor does he have, and how important is he to the success of this Atlas team?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, if you ever get the chance to talk to him, you can just tell that he only cares about the team and he only cares about winning. And he's super energetic, a lot of fun to be around, and very receptive to maybe some ideas we have. But yeah, man, it's been pretty easy to. I've had him for quite a while now, but so we have some great chemistry, obviously. But talk about there's a guy that doesn't really care about his ego and what's going on on his end. He just cares about the team and winning and putting us in the best position possible, and that's all you could ask for.
Yeah, I mean he's just so selfless, like Jeff was saying, and like he'll do anything to put us in the best positions possible. He's super collaborative, and wants our opinions and to help him out in any way, and he helps us out a ton. And I think it's cool to also have a player that was as good as him, and he's done it at this level before, and he just provides a different perspective that I bet a lot of coaches just can't really provide.
Shelley, we talked about it after the semifinal with Reed Bowering being kind of that missing puzzle piece for you guys, and when he got inserted into the lineup, it felt like the offense really started humming on all cylinders. Jeff, what's it been like playing with fellow Canadian and obviously getting Reed in the lineup? How much has that helped you kind of just be a lot more loose and kind of just play with that free-flowing spirit that you have on the field?
Yeah, our Schnarps commissioner Reed over there. I think, yeah, he really embraces what this group's all about, and I think you talk about. I've heard Coach P say it about toughness, and I think he embodies mental, physical, emotional toughness, and he can do it on the field. He's always ready to play. Nothing really phases him ever, to be honest, and he's always in an amazing mood and always fun to be around off the field. So talk about another great teammate that we have, and a piece that just fits in absolutely perfectly, and cannot be more thankful he's on our team.
This game being played right outside of New York, you guys obviously the New York Atlas. How exciting is it that, in essence, you have a home championship game that doesn't come around all that often in any sport, but to be able to play in front of what will be a lot of your home fans right in the backyard, how special is that for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. There's just a different energy once you get close to New York City, and it makes it feel really big time, and kind of like we've been saying, it feels like it's been building up to this moment, and we got a great matchup here with the Outlaws. Amazing game the first time we played, and to kind of throw all those things together, a rematch of that game, near the city in an awesome venue. It doesn't get much better than this.
I feel like everyone remembers that game, Shelley, like you mentioned, in Denver between you guys, and it was regarded as one of the best games of the season. What excites you about being able to go toe-for-toe with some of the best in the league and having a 1 seed versus a 1 seed and having that on display in a championship game?
Yeah, I think it's extremely fun for the fans, exciting for the fans, but also a competitive nature and playing like two best teams are playing in the finals right now, and there's nothing more that you could ask for from a competitive standpoint, right? So they're a great team. They're super dynamic. They're tough, and I think for us, there's going to be it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be pretty. I think that's the thing with playoff and championship games. But I'm excited to get playing.
Everyone talks about glue guys in locker rooms, and they're a key part of what helps a team get over the hump and win a championship. If you guys had to pick your glue guy in this Atlas locker room that somebody may not know, the fans outside of the walls of the locker room may not realize how important they are to the team, who's kind of this New York Atlas glue guy in 2025?
Gosh, that's a good question. I honestly think that's one of the best things about our team is you could name probably 6 or 7 dudes that do that for us. I'll give you a couple just off the top of my head. I think, Reed Bowering, obviously, just like Jeff was saying, how unselfish he is. You see a lot of that stuff on the field, but he's just such a good dude off the field. Chet Camizio, hilarious. Rex is hilarious. Will Mark takes shots after practice every day for us. So there's so many guys that contribute to this thing and make it a great experience.
Super excited for you guys. Excited to see the New York Atlas on display in the PLL Championship game. Best of luck this weekend, and go bring it home, boys.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, everybody, we're here at PLL Championship Media Day 2025, and we've got the New York Atlas assistant coaches with us. Good to have you guys.
Thank you for having us.
It's been a long time coming. I've been trying to get you on this show, Brooksy, for years.
What?
Even when you were playing, I've wanted to sit down with you. So it's an honor to finally have you sitting here on OTB. What's the excitement level for you guys as coaches? Coach Cino, I know obviously first year with the Atlas this year for you, but Brooksy, you've been a part of this organization for a few years now. What's the energy going into your first championship game?
I mean, the energy is very, very high, but when you look at the demeanor of these guys, it's just another game to them, right? And I think that's the biggest focus that we have. There's no other difference. Like, you still put the equipment on the same way. It's still another game, and it's just the last game of the season. Let's not hype it up any more than bigger than it needs to be, but let's just know that we need to go out there and do our job and be effective and just try to complete the task. And then at the end of the day, let's just see where the dust settles, and let's go from there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Brooksy and Coach P have an amazing culture, so it's been pretty easy for me to jump into with my experience, not only with Coach P playing for him back in the day, but obviously playing with and against this guy my whole career. So it's a really connected group. I love the culture, and Coach Brooksy hit the nail on the head. I mean, these guys are dialed in. They're the best players in the world, and honestly, the last Denver game that we played was probably one of the best lacrosse games I've ever witnessed in person. Didn't turn out in our favor, but I'm excited to get another chance.
The build-up with the 1 seed versus the 1 seed, all the talent that's going to be on display. But talk about talent, this New York Atlas roster, top to bottom, has some of, if not the best player on the planet at each position. As coaches, how much easier does it make your job knowing you have players like Jeff Teat, Gavin Adler, Trevor Baptiste, the list goes on, that are regarded as some of, if not the best at their position in the sport?
I mean, to me, yes, they are great players, but I think something else that needs to be said is they're great human beings. I have had the honor of bringing my son. Joe's brought his son around a couple of the games too, and seeing how great they are with our kids and how they treat them as if they're their little brother, right? And I think that speaks volumes of the type of culture. Is that these guys are great, but they're great humans off the field, which makes it a lot better to coach because you know the type of character that they are, and it just makes it the easiest part on the field. And you know what? We're the luckiest people on earth that we get to stand on the sideline and watch these amazing players play. And being against the two top teams, it's another privilege and honor for us to be there to be able to watch two of the top teams in all this skill set. Because if you think back to like 20 years ago, or even when we were playing, you're like, whoa, this game is completely changed, the speed of it, the skill of it, and it's just really fun to watch. But it's just, again, the best of the best, and we just try to put the right foot forward and put them in the places where they can have the most success, and they're capable of doing that pretty easily sometimes.
Yeah, Brooksy, just, tell them how you really feel. Come on. What are we doing? Look, these are the best players in the world, right? Yeah. And I think you mentioned it. Not only do we have great people, but, like, the adjustments that you can make on the fly and the preparation that these guys put into this makes it that much more fun, right? I think Brooksy alluded to it earlier where the days of the MLL and the old school pizza boxes, hose shower out of Ursack Field when New Jersey Pride played there, remember that? It's insane. Now you think about, like, even this media room we're in today. I mean, the level has just been – the bar has been raised collectively by the entire league and the back office, who does a great job. People like yourself who are now engaging and bringing it to a mass audience. I mean, you can tell we're on the verge of something really special, but again, it's the players that you mentioned that are really dedicating the time outside to go out and train and be in a position where, they can play a full game and, maybe some overtime this Sunday. We'll see what happens. Hopefully not.
Brooks, you played in this league. You know the speed of it. How much of a benefit has that been for you when you transitioned to coaching, knowing that not only have you played professional lacrosse, but you played in the PLL? I've talked about that a ton on the show, where you see a lot of the assistant coaches coming in, Drew Snyder included with the Whip Snakes, yourself. You guys played the PLL style of pro lacrosse. How beneficial is that for you as a coach? And so, what have you learned from Brooksy, knowing that he played in the league to kind of adjust in your first year as a coordinator?
You want me to take this one first?
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I got this.
Yeah, you got that.
Yeah, so, look, I mean, obviously the shorter field makes things a lot closer. It's more intimate. It's a lot faster. The 32-second shot clock blew my mind to start. I mean, it didn't make any sense. It's almost like I'd rather lose the face-off because, we'd rather play 52 seconds of offense versus 32. Right. Coach Brooks, he's done an amazing job, right? We've got a whole plan around 32, 52. The reality is the two-point shot, obviously you saw last weekend against the Water Dogs, which if this can go on record, I'd love Seth to remove the two-point shot from the PLL. Oh. No, but all kidding aside, it makes a huge difference, and you have to plan differently. And again, goalies have to go see those shots. So it's been amazing, and I honestly think the transition between the league now, 6 is what it's going to look like in the Olympics, and box, it's starting to come a little bit closer together, and I'm sure we'll see some type of hybrid in the future.
Yeah, I mean, the speed of the game, I'll never forget the first actual true practice that we had at the IMG facilities, and I was like, whoa. When you cross that midline, when taking that 10 yards away, you usually have time to read, okay, you can read the situation and then go attack. You cross over, the two-point line is right there. So you're right engaged right into the offensive plan. And so, I think the benefit that I think Joe and I both have coming into this is being pros, knowing what it's like to take that step to the next level and make that commitment outside of the game. It's what you're doing in the weekdays that's the most important. Checking up on them and not just coaching these guys to being college players, but more building the personal relationships, understand what makes them tick, and try to figure out how can I probe them in the right areas to get them moving, to pick them up or to encourage them. And I think that's where we both come in. It's yes, knowing the speed of the game and how the PLL, that was an advantage, but more importantly, it's just about knowing how and what they're going through, that we can relate to that, and then being in that experience, it's just something to help soothe them because they know and they can trust us because we've been in their shoes before. So it's more we're working both ways. But I think that's an advantage of being an ex-player, now being as a coach, of experiencing those moments that they went through and just relating that to them.
We know Connor Shellenberger is an MVP candidate tonight at the end of year awards. We know what he does on the field. What makes Connor Shellenberger an MVP off the field?
I mean, he's the guy that you want your sister to date, right? Or you want your daughter to marry. He's an upstanding human. He cares a lot about the game, and off the game he gives back to the fans. He teaches a lot of the kids that my son plays on a club team, and a lot of the kids he does camps, and they all go to him, and they talk about how great of a person he is when they go to him. He's never too big or too shining bright, too bright for the stars. He's always going to be that humble piece. But his ability to be after a game, for instance, over the weekend in the semifinal game, I was like, hey man, great game. He's like, oh man, I missed 2 opportunities. I got to do better. I got to finish those. And he's beating himself up because he's getting that edge, be I can be better. I can be better. The fact that you don't have to coach that and that's uncoachable for him, that's making him a better player. And I think that's just, he's a true pro. He's unbelievable on the field. He's unbelievable off the field, and he's going to may have a great career in the PLL with it.
And he's a coach.
He's a coach. Yeah.
Here's the other thing too, and I think this, Coach Brooks, he hit the nail on the head with a lot of those points. But it's also cool because you see last year, right? Jeff Teat, typical Canadian, not typical. Obviously, he's arguably one of the best players in the world. Completely different style to Shellenberger. Shellenberger, for the kids at home, obviously raising kids, he is one of the most fundamental attackmen that you've seen, and he does it week in and week out. It's righty, it's lefty, he's shooting, he's feeding. He's the most dynamic guy in the world. And again, then you think about him as a person, and we're not dating anybody just yet here.
Just trying to say,
all right,
he's a
pal.
nice guy.
Let's
Come
just,
on now.
all right, take it easy.
He's a nice guy.
But listen, that's what makes him who he is. And again, he's one of the most humble guys in the world. He's great. So we'll see how the awards ceremony goes tonight, but I'm ready to flip some tables if it doesn't go our way. So you may see Hulk come out.
Hulk Cino has
That's
a nice
right.
ring to it.
Yeah, that's right.
Hulk Cino, I like that.
Well,
That's a new nickname.
I
I'm dropping that.
Yeah, I dare somebody to not give him that award. See what happens.
What would it mean for you guys, obviously, to win a championship? But Trevor Baptiste has been a part of this organization since the get-go. What would it mean for you guys to see him get to the top of the mountain as one of, if not the best face-off athletes to ever do it, and one of the best players in the league to date?
You put the icing on the cake on this one. Let me go first,
All right.
because you've had a lot more time with him.
Yeah.
Look, again, got to know Trevor a lot more this year. Jersey guy, right? You've seen him what he did in the Worlds. You see how just a great human being. Not only that, the ambassador he is for the sport and how amazing he is, in front of the media to help kind of get the audience that we're looking for, right? Like Trevor is the man. He's such a great guy. He's so well spoken. He's what you want as the face of our league. So to see him in those situations, he's an all world guy, and to see, I know he's been working pretty hard to get a ring here. So I'll leave that one to Brooksy because I just got here. I'm the new guy. So.
Yeah, we've been through a lot, and the fact that I've been with him since the inception of this, it would mean the world to me just to see him hoist that. I mean, the look on his face when we won last weekend, he was like, it was ear to ear. And to see the guys so excited for him and happy for him afterwards. I don't know if you guys saw the clip, but there's a clip between Trevor and Coach P. And he goes, we're going to the chip. But then Coach P just says, man, I am so happy for you. And just knowing that, and you could see that look in his eyes, being like how much this means to him, because he's been battling this for the last 7 years, like, and up and down, being the world's best and just being so close. And now that we're here, it would just mean everything to all of us as a staff, and the guys on this team know how much this means to him, and they kind of want to just do it for him.
For you guys as coaches, and not to speak for Coach Pressler, but you as a triangle, there's so much talent on this roster, and I think with the wrong combination of coaches, a lot of egos could showcase themselves and be on full display. What is that balance there to kind of be a coach, but also knowing that you're taking care of a lot of the best players on the planet and making sure they're all involved in this ecosystem of the New York Atlas?
Look, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so, yeah, we can just be honest here. Like, I think the reality is I think everyone still knows that we're not at the level, right, where the NBA, NHL, NFL are. I think that we all want to get there, so it really helps with the expectations. I think you're talking about the egos. There's really nothing that, we have to manage. I think the fact, Brooksy said it earlier, like, we've been in this league, we've played, we've done the professional scene. There's a lot of respect amongst it. And again, I think, I'll let Coach Brooksy talk to it, but the first year or two for Coach Pressler, this was a whole world of difference, right? Mm-hmm. This isn't high school. It's not college. Guys are showing up late, missed the flights, missed practice time, and we're looking at it like, yeah, so what? Like, he'll be fine. I think at first it was maybe tough for Coach P, but I think now, honestly, the egos aren't there. These guys are great, and you can tell. I mean, anytime you put them together, they'll hang out all day. They love hanging together.
Play schnarps.
Schnarps?
Yeah, I mean, like exactly what Joe just said right there. It's like if you come in like with a college mentality, right, and our first year with Coach P, it was tough, and it's always tough with the first-year coach, because it's his first year. It's a lot of these guys experiencing each other, and there's a lot of learning lessons. And I think Coach P talks about it all the time now. He's like, if you ask me the college me right now, I will not be this person right now. And we've all learned across the years of where you can press a little harder, where you need to let go a little bit more. And he's learning, we're all learning, but like what he says is like, this is a players' league, we got to listen to the players. And I think that's what's most important, because it's all about them and little about us, and just managing that. And he's done over the last 2 years has been unbelievable. I have learned so much through Coach P, that on and off the field, and the preparation and how to just manage the teams and the flows of what to do and when to time it. And he's done a tremendous job with this group of guys, and you can see how much they truly respect him for it.
Yeah, I think the one last piece of that too, Coach P gives us the freedom, and I know Coach Brooksy does a great job with the offense, and again, full freedom to kind of own kind of the game plan. But definitely, I think Coach P's the kind of guy that makes you want to be a better man. So when the guys go home, they're like, we're doing it for old Gipper here to an extent, but he's a man's man, and it's great to have the standards in place and the expectations. Guys know it, they love it, and again, they want to be coached, which makes it so much fun.
Yes.
So
that's hands down. That's one of the things. These guys want to be coached. Mm-hmm. Like if you come in here not wanting to press them or coach them up, you'll be out the door real quick. These guys want to be coached hard, and they want to be coached fully to the extent, kind of like college, with a little bit more freedom. And I think that's a little bit more fun too, because you never realize these are the best of the best, but they still want to be coached about the little things, which makes our job a lot more fun to do.
I asked Shelly and Jeff this. Every championship team, no matter what sport, the winners, losers, in between, they always talk about who the glue guy of the roster, of the locker room is. from a coaching perspective, who's the 2025 glue guy in this Atlas locker room?
I'm going to go with Bowser, Reed Bowering.
Okay.
I think he's the glue guy. He runs the schnarps. He keeps tabs of everything like that. I think he's like the unsung hero. He's behind the scenes you don't see is Bowser's always trying to plan and do things, and I think he's one of the big glue guys for us. Trevor, Trevor, of course. Trevor is an outstanding leader with our 3 captains. They're outstanding. Trevor is absolutely outstanding at running it too. But who do you got?
Well, obviously he goes offensive guy, so I'm going to go defensive guy. Naturally. Now, again, there's I think about Rex, I think about, Makar, some of those guys. But then we've got a rookie that has really come in and established himself as kind of one of the dudes. Always in the front, always trying to get the energy going, outside, always clever with the quips. Again, maybe because he's an Ivy League guy.
Yeah.
Which I found out Yale apparently is one of the tougher Ivy League schools based on the area. I mean, it was rough up there when we went up there. But Max Krebsky,
yes,
big time. And again, even on the field, he kind of owns it. He's definitely one of our glue guys. And his personality, I mean, is just contagious. I mean, guys love having him around, especially Coach.
Yeah, yes.
I'm stoked for you guys. This was a blast. We're going to have you guys on a weekly segment or
Let's
something
do it.
because this was too much fun.
Let's do it. We made it.
Anytime.
Best of luck to you guys this weekend. Go kick some ass. And
thank you.
Come out on top.
I appreciate you. Thanks
for
having us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, everybody, we're here at PLL Media Day for the Championship Game 2025. And joining me, 2 of the faces of the New York Atlas, Danny Logan and the OG, Trevor Baptiste.
The OG.
Finally on the pod. Boys, first of all, congratulations making it to the first championship game in Atlas history. What's the vibe? What's the feeling going to your first chip?
We're excited. I mean, just from the time you touched down here, going to practice, being in the hotel, at meals, there's a special vibe in the air for sure. Obviously, it being a championship game, but we're just excited to get the boys together for a long weekend ahead of the championship game.
Yeah, I mean that's really it. We're jacked up, we're locked in, we're ready to go.
Trevor, we talked about it in Philly after the game. You're in your backyard.
Yeah.
You're sleeping at mom and dad's house this weekend. What's that feeling like, knowing that championship game, the first one you go to, is right at home, and it's where you grew up, it's where you fell in love with the game. What's that feeling like?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it, home game this weekend. So it's definitely a full circle moment. I think that from the point of starting to play lacrosse, the introduction to the sport was here. And then now doing it at the pinnacle of the sport at this level with this team, it's incredible, and it's impeccable in timing. Excuse me. Impeccable timing.
Trevor, I've been thinking about this for a while. You came into pro lacrosse the same year I came into pro lacrosse. We've been tied at the hip since the beginning.
Yeah.
And it got even deeper when I found out that you and I both former swimmers.
Yeah.
How much has swimming helped your lacrosse game?
I think it's helped a lot. I think that, being a face-off guy, it's a very individualized position, and swimming is a very individual sport. I think a lot of times you're in the water trapped in your thoughts, and, I think when it comes to face-off X, sometimes you're out on an island trying to figure things out in your own mind, so I think that there's definitely some similarities there. Would I say the stick skills, physicality are the same? I would say absolutely not. But I would say that as well too. Yeah.
You guys are together what feels like year round. What's the bond been like? Coming together on this Atlas team, building that friendship on and off the field, and now together you get to go to your championship game for the first time. As teammates, and the hours, the energy that's been put in as friends off the field too. How special is that for the both of you?
You want to take this one day? You want to take that one day?
As you can tell, we spend no time together. But no, playing year round is great. Obviously, it seems like we talk pretty much every day on the phone about Atlas lacrosse or something else. So I don't know how many days in a hotel room we've put together in the past year.
Yeah,
but
a lot
of days in hotel rooms together. So it's been fun, and obviously, one of my best friends, and it's been incredible to lead the team alongside him, and I think a lot of that translates onto the field as well. Having a good vibe off the field is definitely a big part of this group and our relationship as well. So, couldn't ask for anything more.
Obviously, end-of-year awards are tonight as well as we're sitting here at Media Day. Are Atlas just bringing them all home tonight? What's the energy in the room knowing that you guys have some of, if not the best player at multiple positions on your roster, top to bottom, whether it's offense, defense, in the middle of the field, like this guy right here, Trev, yourself included? What is that feeling like, knowing that you're littered with talent, but it's also a roster that has zero egos?
Yeah, I mean, I really like how you ended that there. Like, I think that it's a huge honor, and I think that's something that we don't take lightly, the recognition for all those individual awards. But, I think we all know why we're here. We're here to win a championship, and I think that so much of our success is revolved around everybody making each other better, and everybody taking each other to that next level. So I think that's what we're focused on.
Excited for you guys. I'm pumped that you're both going to your first championship game. Trev, couldn't be happier for you, brother.
Appreciate
it. And all the best of luck this Sunday, and go give them hell, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Let's go.
Big shout out to the New York Atlas players and coaches for hopping on OTB at Media Day. It was an absolute blast. Very excited to get all of those guys on an actual episode with us as well. As you guys heard in the interview, I joked with Brooks and Cino. I was like, yeah, we need you guys on the pod every single week during the season for a segment together, because they were just and that was the first time I'd ever met Cinosky. Like, we knew he was the coach and everything, but had never gotten a chance to meet him. Obviously, we've been around Brooksy. He played in the league, and now he's been a assistant coach with the Atlas for a few years, and we've been able to interact with him a bit. But just getting that formal, sit down with him, really, built up the connection with him, too. And those two were excellent, and we need them every single week, Teach. They were fireworks. I mean, shout out to Jeff and Shelly. When we went into Media Day and the approach we took with interviews, it was there's a lot of guys on these teams that I think these guys in the Cannons are the three teams we don't have that many formal connections with. We've had a couple interactions with guys, but we've never really had that many guys from these three teams on the show. And the fact that there was a prime opportunity for us to just sit and conversate with a bunch of these guys for the first time and take advantage of that moment, being like, hey, this could be our only opportunity to have these guys on potentially. We were like, let's take full advantage of getting who we can and the people that we know can provide pretty cool insight, not only for us, but for you guys, the listeners and viewers. So to get Jeff Teat and Shelly together was unbelievable. And just to get 12 minutes with the two of them, they're very keep to themselves type of guys, and they're still very young. So it's one of those things that it was pretty cool to sit down with them for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm experiencing an earthquake over here.
He's shaking and moving.
But no, I really wish I could have been there. That's the worst thing about this. But realistically, I'm excited to hear these interviews once I get a chance. And I'm sure these guys were amazing. And it's cool kind of getting them in this setting because it's a little more relaxed. There's not a lot of people around, and they kind of get to let loose a little bit and kind of just comfortably answer the questions however they see fit. And it's more about what you ask than who you're talking to. Once they get a vibe of the conversation, that kind of tailors how they act through it. So I'm interested to see kind of just how comfortable they are and what they have to say.
And I mean, I thought we did a good job as media too. we had a station. Inside Lacrosse had their own station, and the Pelkey Show had their own setup as well. And then obviously, like, Zach Carey was there doing one-on-one interviews, which he does a great job with those as well. But I was like looking around and seeing who Inside Lacrosse was grabbing, who Pelkey Show was grabbing, and I think the three like big conglomerates there, we all did a great job of being unique with who we got on. There was very little repetition, and I think that's good for the listening audience, because whether you listen to this show, you listen to Pelkey, you listen to Inside Lacrosse, you listen to all three, or you only listen to one, you're not going to get a lot of repetitive answers. You're not going to get a lot of repeat personalities this week when all of the episodes air. So I think we all did a great collective job of diversifying who we pulled for interviews and everything. I think that's just another step in the right direction of this, and like getting different voices heard for not only our benefit and learning more about these guys and the way they're operating, but also for the people listening and watching at home to have unique content across the board to listen to and consume before this championship game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for them to have a lot of different mindsets and ideas. Like, obviously, they're all going to be along the same lines, but it's going to be said differently, and it's going to feel differently coming from players versus coaches and different sides of the ball and things of that nature. And then you're getting that from both sides. So you kind of get a full encapsulating idea of what this championship means, how it's going to feel, how it's going to play, how it's going to look from not only your vantage point, but the vantage point of both teams.
All right, and on the Denver Outlaws side of this game, and, you know, of course, shout out to all of our New York Atlas interviews, just a ton of fun, like we mentioned. But on the Denver Outlaws side of things, Deej, we have a ton of big game experience. Not that the Atlas don't, but you look at, you know, the Tafora-Ton offense. You look at, even though it's a different sport, you look at Jared Bernhardt and playing at the NFL level and just the physical demand that takes as well, and just what he's been able to kind of, you know, battle back from and be nominated for midfielder of the year this year. And then you look, like we mentioned earlier on in the show, Logan McNaney, goalie of the year. He turned their season around, and it wasn't even just like, oh, we found, you know, our rookie goalie spark plug. No, like, he led the league in clean saves. He made it so that early on in the season, like, we were questioning Denver's defense a lot when Owen McElroy was in goal. We were like, oh, Jesse looks slow. Mike Manley, maybe, you know, he's really losing that step now. And while they weren't up to snuff then, as soon as Logan came in, that's when you really started to see the whole unit defensively as well for the Outlaws really take shape. And you got to give credit to Logan there too. You know, he joked earlier in the season that now he gets to yell at Jesse rather than Jesse yelling at him. And I think Logan coming in just gave that entire defensive unit, including JT, but even then, like, JT was still doing JT Giles-Harris things. I feel like it just gave them like a confidence boost almost, because, you know, not that, you know, it takes a lot to be able to play your sport at the highest level. And that's a kudos to Owen McElroy for being on this Outlaws roster. But when you needed that spark, Logan McNaney came in and provided that, and it changed the trajectory of their season. And credit to Hoots. He said early on that Logan McNaney was a front runner for goalie of the year. He was talking about, you know, who's to say if Logan doesn't start the whole year and plays those additional 2 games in the beginning of the year that the Outlaws lost, not saying they would win them, but who's to say he's not in the MVP conversation at that point? It's truly one of the coolest, like, rookie stories we've had in recent PLL, you know, history, that a goalie comes in and completely changes the complexion of an entire season for an organization.
I wish I could tell you I think it's crazy, but like I don't, and that's just because like I play defense. And like I understand, like we had every right to question Jesse and Mike because they looked bad. And it wasn't because, so like, and granted, they didn't just like magically get better over the season. It was a comfortability thing. They felt like they had to do more with Owen McElroy and net. And to some standard they did, which allowed that they were kind of overplaying and it made them look worse than what they are. McNaney came in and just gave them a comfortable sense and allowed them to relax and just play their game and know that, hey, he's going to make these saves and we can go from there. And that was really the only thing that was hindering the Denver. Their offense was already firing on cylinders. They were fine on that end. The middle of the field could have cleaned up a little bit, but everything else was kind of running the way they wanted it to. They just couldn't get enough clean saves and enough saves on the back end and play relaxed defensively. Once Logan stepped between the pipes, it was simple. They got to just play. And then they were successful at doing exactly that, just playing. So, yeah, and you're right. Logan is a big part of that, and he should be. You know, he is successful and found a way to really take this team to another level with his play. The clean saves, getting out to transition for Piseno, Tarafanko, and others, but also the calmness that he brought the defensive end and how they played and the way they all communicated. It all factored into how good of a season Denver had. Obviously, it goes without saying that it wouldn't have been the same without him, but it does make you wonder what the first two games would have been like if he was between the pipes.
And I mean, I think one of the most unsung aspects of this Denver team, like Ryan Tarafanko gets a lot of the shine, and rightfully so. And, you know, end of year awards, he walks away with the Short Stick D Mitty Hard Hat Award, which it was his year. I was talking to a bunch of people, and it was like this year just felt like it was Ryan Tarafanko's year to bring that award home. I feel like their entire unit in that Short Stick D Mitty room does not get nearly enough credit for how talented they are. And, you know, Pseudo talks about it all the time, and one of these days I'm going to be able to correct him, because we said on this show Zach Geddes was the biggest free agent signing of the offseason, and nobody was giving it the shine that it rightfully deserved, because we saw last season, Zach's last year with Carolina, it was trending towards like him breaking through and like him being a star at that Short Stick D Mitty position. He was fantastic in his final year in Carolina, and then goes to Denver, and now he gets to, you know, be part of a unit with Ryan Tarafanko. They have Alex Smith there, who I think is a Champ Series success story. And then you draft Jack Gray, and when Alex Smith gets hurt, Jack Gray steps in, and they don't lose a single beat. That Short Stick D Mitty room, I think, just is so undervalued and like flies under the radar of a lot of PLL fans. And I want people to realize like how fucking good they are. And they're a huge reason why Denver's also in this position. You can talk about Logan, you can talk about the offense. Those Short Stick D Mitties put in the work. And those boys, and I forget who it was. It was Justin Anderson, when you'll hear later on in this episode when I was talking to him. He compared what the Short Stick D Mitty unit is, or, you know, just the position in the PLL. It's like what a lockdown corner has to be in the NFL. And I was like, that's such a fun comparison to think about, because you are going, you know, you're on an island. You're trying to figure out, you know, trying to guard some of the best players on the planet and just going toe for toe with them. And, you know, we talk about Utah. We talk about, the Danny Logans. We talk about Brian Tevlin. We talk about a rookie year that Dylan Hess had. This unit just became so complete this year with the addition of Zach Geddes, with Alex Smith, and then when he goes down, Jack Gray stepping in. I was just wildly impressed by their overall collective this year, and I think when you talk about this Outlaws team, if they end up winning on Sunday, I think a big part of it is going to be these Short Stick D Mitties doing their job.
I don't want this to come up the wrong way, because they are a great unit and they help this team a lot, but they're quote unquote undervalued because they're one of the few units that actually gets dodged on. and like teams score against. Like the philosophy playing Denver is run through the midfield and then get your attack situated and included in the game later. Every other team, it's almost the exact opposite. It's, hey, attack their poles and then we can get our middies mixed in later. That kind of throws a monkey. And like, there's no one on Denver that's like, oh yeah, like don't dodge on them. Like the short sticks are all very dodgeable. Like nobody ever feels like a Danny Logan. You don't dodge on Danny Logan. You don't dodge on Brian Tedlin. You know, like these things are known, and teams scheme to not dodge on those guys. You never really hear that with Denver, which also allows those Denver short sticks to make a difference, which they have been doing this year. Is they're taking advantage of the fact that they are being dodged on and making plays and creating instant offense for the team when those opportunities arise.
And on top of that, too, I think them collectively as a unit, we saw it with Zach and Terry, especially this year, like they were just so good in transition and creating transition offense, along with Jake Piseno, too. But, you know, Terry and Zach were scoring in key moments for Denver this year that they absolutely needed, and pushing the ball in transition. They did such a great job with it this year. And it was just a true testament to them just coming together as a team, and that being such an important unit for them, not only on the defensive side of things, but also moving it and being offensive when they needed to be. Who's your, we talked about X factors and the under the radar guy for New York. Who would you say is going to be that guy for Denver if they're going to come out victorious?
It will not be one guy.
Okay.
It will be two, and it will be the special teams. Weirman being able to turn that into a 3-on-3 battle that they have to fight for ground balls for, that Trevor Baptiste can't win forward, huge. But in the same token, a lot of these faceoffs are probably going to Atlas. How well can Logan McNaney do in that short shot clock? If he's able to make saves in that 32 and then get them out in transition to work the 52 however they want on the other side, Denver has a very good chance of being successful. But it's going to take a tandem effort there from those two and the special teams to make sure that no easy opportunities or extra opportunities are being awarded to Atlas.
I think my under the radar guy that's going to make a huge difference in this game is Dalton Young. He just puts his head down. We've talked about him a ton, obviously, and I got a chance to watch him during the NLL season too. And, we saw what he did as a rookie last year with the Outlaws, but this year feels like he's elevated his game, and I think that's just a testament to the talent around him too, and them recognizing like, hey, this dude can ball. Let's get him involved in the offense. And Pat Kavanagh has talked about it a ton, where he's gone on the record and said Dalton Young's the best midfielder in the league. But I think Dalton is like, he's that type of guy that you need on a championship team. He's the type of guy that will like catch that clutch pass from somebody and bury it. He's the guy that's going to find the open man and help, his team score that clutch goal, score that game-tying goal. He's that glue and gel guy in an offense that every championship contending team aspires to have. And the fact that they have Dalton Young, can rely on him while also having Brennan O'Neill, Pat Kavanagh, Logan Wisnauskas, Jared Bernhardt, and every other talented, offensive weapon on this team. I think Dalton Young is going to play a huge part in this game because he's going to be kind of the open man, for lack of a better term, because there's going to be so much emphasis on the 4 Tuareton winners. There's going to be emphasis on protecting the 2-point arc from Graham Bundy Jr. So I think Dalton Young is going to be somebody to watch in this game, and I think, on the biggest stage, he's going to put on a show.
Yeah, I'm excited for what they have on the offensive end and how it's going to go against that defense. The defense is world-class. When you think about Entenmann between the pipes, you have Defensive Player of the Year in Adler, you have Makar there, who seems to be a Terp whisperer. You have Rexroad, and then you have all those short stick D mids, and then that LSM room is also crazy. Between Grace, Costabile, Carpenter, Smith, whoever they decide to roll out there, they're in a great position to be successful. So I'm excited to see how the Denver offense goes against that Atlas defense.
So I think without any further ado, to get all you Outlaws, all you Rough Riders riled up, we're going to cut to our Denver Outlaws Media Day interviews, and it's brought to you by our PLL app code. Guys, there's no better way to keep up to date with everything going on this weekend for the PLL Championship game than in the PLL app. Get all the press conferences, behind-the-scenes videos. It's obviously a gamified app, so there's PLL Fantasy, there's trivia, there's the Shoot Your Shot campaign going on right now in the app. And when you go to the redeem code section after you download the PLL app in the App Store or Google Play Store, use code OTBPOD. That's code OTBPOD to get 500 XP on your account. So again, download the PLL app, go to the redeem code section, and type in OTBPOD, OTBPOD, for 500 XP on your account, and keep up to date with the PLL all year round in the PLL app. So now, without any further ado, everybody, it's time for Pat Kavanagh, Mike Manley, Jake Piseno, Nick Grill, Justin Anderson, and JT Giles-Harris on OTB.
All right, everybody, we're here at the 2025 PLL Championship Media Day, and we are joined by Pat Kavanagh and Mike Manley from the Denver Outlaws. Guys, congratulations on making it to the PLL Championship game first and foremost. What's the excitement level, going to first championship in this iteration of the Denver Outlaws, and just the energy around the team and gearing up for Sunday?
You want this one? Yeah. No, it's been amazing. Getting in early, getting to see the guys earlier, and being able to enjoy this last weekend with them. And knowing it's the last weekend and making it to the championship weekend has been incredible. So really that we're just soaking it all in and enjoying each other's company this last weekend.
Yeah, incredibly exciting. Obviously, we've had a pretty good year so far, but each week we've been stacking wins, and every time we're just saying we're not getting satisfied, we're not going to be complacent. And obviously the goal every time you strap it up every year is to win a championship. So, yeah, hopefully we get it done this weekend.
Mike, obviously off-season, this guy gets traded to your guys' roster. What was the excitement then, and then now seeing the season he had? He's an MVP candidate. What has it been like watching Pat go to work with this team and kind of just looking so comfortable on this roster on offense for you guys?
Yeah, I was extremely excited when we had the opportunity to get Pat. Just watching him through his college career, obviously, battling Duke all those years. I hated seeing him go up against him, but, obviously I hate playing against him, love him on my team. He's that type of guy. He's a phenomenal teammate. Honestly, it brought me back this year, getting him. That's how much excitement's around that. He's been a great addition to our team, great teammate, and great leader.
What's it like having a guy like Mike Manley on this roster and playing with someone who's well-regarded, is one of the best defensemen to do it, and, hearing him say that you getting traded here brought him back, and, what's it been like having him as a teammate?
Yeah, it's definitely really surreal. That's one of the coolest parts about playing in this league. You play with guys that you've been looking up to your entire lacrosse career, and obviously my older brother Matt spent some time getting guarded by Mike back in the MLL days and then early in the PLL days, so I've been watching him for a while, and just one of the best players of all time, one of the best pro lacrosse players of all time. So Mike was actually the first Outlaw that texted me when I got traded. So incredibly welcoming me into the locker room, and yeah, he was one of the best leaders I've been around, and it's not a surprise why he's been doing it at such a high level for so long. He's just such a pro, all class, and yeah, I mean, he makes our team go on and off the field. So,
Pat, you've won at the highest level in college. Have you talked to your older brother Matt about what goes into preparation playing for a championship at the pro level this week?
Not really, no. It's just a little bit. I mean, he sent me a little text. It's just all about making smart plays, not getting too emotional. All about just making the right play after play. If you make a bad play, just move on, next play mentality. So, yeah, obviously I've been there before at the college level, but the pro level is a different animal, different beast. All the guys in the field are the best players in the world. So you can't take a play off. The games are shorter. 48 minutes goes by really fast. So just having that next play mentality the whole game and staying level-headed and just trusting in the work that you put in the entire year to get here.
Mike, Coach Sudo has really had a culture about this team, even dating back to when you guys were the Chrome, obviously. But, you know, it feels like there's never a moment where the guys, you know, Pryor, Galloway, Rannigan, you know, all of those guys get brought up, and just the culture that was instilled from day one. And even though a championship wasn't won with those guys, how important was that foundational culture of those players, yourself included, Jesse and the like, to really get you guys to where you are here this year?
Yeah, those are the guys I learned from, right? They're my best friends. Still talk to them every day. I saw the quote from, JG and those guys that they're living vicariously through me, and that means a lot to me because, I still play everything I've kind of learned on the field. I've learned from them. I still play for those guys as well. But yeah, it's a family. We've always kind of had that family mentality in the locker room, and we continue to build our family. Honestly, that we have a lot of teams that say that, but I wholeheartedly believe in that.
Guys, best of luck on Sunday. Bring hell, give it to them, and hopefully we're talking about a Denver Outlaws championship on Sunday afternoon.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
All right, everybody, we're here at the 2025 PLL Championship Media Day, Denver Outlaws edition. Jake Piseno, Nick Grill joining us. Boys, congratulations on getting to the first championship game in this iteration of the Denver Outlaws. What's the excitement level going to your first championship?
It's awesome. It's definitely an experience for sure. All this media and, I think all the boys are juiced up to finally play. But we got a couple days, and it's kind of just figuring out what we need to do, kind of keeping our highs and lows, at even keel, and just we're pumped for the game.
100%. I think being the 2-week break too, kind of allowing us to enjoy the win that we had against the Redwoods and all the hard work that went into that, especially with the long break that we had until then, but also allowing us to focus a little bit more on the great Atlas team that we're going to play, that we're excited to be a part of on Sunday. So I think we're tempered a little bit now. I think we were focused, ready to go, and just excited to be here.
Jake, for you, obviously with your Indigenous background and, playing a medicine game to compete at the highest level, how special is that for you, but now also to compete for a championship with the medicine game involved? How special is that?
It's very special. I think it's a testament to all the people who came before me and, all the people who showed me the way. I'll shout out Mark Burnham. He unfortunately passed away, lost his battle to cancer a couple days ago, so he was a big part of me, initially being on the U19, U20 Haudenosaunee team, and then eventually playing for the men's team. So, I thank him for everything that he's done for me, and then all the Indigenous people who back me up. So it's definitely special, and I can't wait to play.
Nick, when you watch this guy go out on the field, and this season in particular, he's launching twos. He becomes one of the first long poles, joining the likes of Michael Earhart, who you were a teammate with, obviously, to score 10-plus points as an LSM. How fun was it to just watch him go out there, go to work, and just play so loose, so free-spirited each and every week?
100%. Makes my job easier as the backup LSM, that's for sure. But not only myself, but I think the rest of the defense, just that confidence that we have in him, that not only is he going to be scoring like you talked about, but he does everything else, right? He's a complete LSM. He's one of the best LSMs, if not the best LSM in the world. We're proud and happy that he's on our team. But we know he's just going to do his job. He loves his job. He loves competing. He loves being a part of our crew, right? You wouldn't expect him to be where he's at and the status he has just because he's a part of our crew every day. He's really low-key. He's an awesome teammate. So we love watching him go out there, but now we kind of just expect it, right? Whenever he makes those twos, he shoots those twos or makes a great play on the defensive end, we're like, all right, well, just Jake being Jake, which we're pumped to have him out here, and we expect him to ball out ready to go on Sunday with us.
What's it like playing for Coach Sudo? He's kind of under the radar, doesn't, say all too much, but also when he does talk to the media, when he talks to people on sidelines off, a microphone, it's so insightful. What's it like playing for a coach like him, and what brings the best out of you guys playing for a coach like him?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a player's coach. He understands it. Obviously, he played professional for a while, so he definitely understands the ins and outs of everything that we're doing. That's why it makes him so special, and that's why he's so low-key, because he understands it, and he's gone through it, so he knows how we feel all the time. So I think for us, it's just kind of like we want to make him proud every single time we're on the field. So it makes his job easier when he's helping us out on and off the field, and it makes our job easier when he's being the coach that he is.
100%. I think Jake hit the nail on the head that because he was a player's coach, or he was a player, that such an esteemed player, successful player, winning 2 gold medals, being an unbelievable pro in both leagues, he understands kind of the pressure and what we go through on a day-to-day basis, not only traveling on every weekend, but then figuring out what you need to do and the work you need to get done, and us understanding that we have to be professional during the weeks to make sure that we're ready to go on the weekends. And I think that trust, allowing us to kind of create this culture that we have on our own, which he kind of spearheaded, but also giving it to these older guys. Like Jake said, we want to make sure that we're proud for him, or that he's proud of us, kind of what we're doing, kind of all the wins, all the success that he deserves, right, and all the praise that he's gets. So it's awesome that he's getting up for Coach of the Year this tonight at the award ceremony, because he deserves that. He's an awesome, unbelievable human being that we can go to him, not only for lacrosse issues, but also human issues as well, anything that's going on throughout our lives. So just an unbelievable dude, which I think just resonates with his culture and the coach that he is.
You bring up the end-of-year awards tonight. Those are going down. A lot of your teammates, yourself included, Jake nominated for a number of awards. What does that speak to about that culture where you guys have so much talent on this roster, offense, defense, in the middle of the field, goalie, but it's egoless? You guys play such an egoless brand of lacrosse. So do your opponents on Sunday as well. What does that speak to just, more about that culture, more about you guys as people being able to kind of click and connect and be able to perform at the highest level?
Yeah, I think being nominated is awesome, but just like you said, I think we're an egoless team, and even being nominated, it's not a testament to what I've done this year. It's because of all these guys, and it's because of everything that they've done for me personally, to be comfortable, to be able to take chances. And then I think that's for everyone, like Pat, Brennan being MVP, Jared Midfielder of the Year, Logan McNaney, like Mike, like everyone being a part of the nominees and everything like that is not because of their own success, which it is a part of it, but I think it is also us as a team. It's like everyone is just helping each other out, and I think that's the beauty of it, is that even if none of us win or all of us win, I think we're all going to be able to say that it's because of everyone who wears the Denver Outlaws. So
100%. I think buying into this culture of the whole is greater than any individual awards and any individual player that we have on this team. I think that's where the success comes from, and I think once we started seeing that, we started identifying that, it just begets even more success, I think, not only for the team but the individuals as well. Like when you win, when you have success, awards always come, and they're great. But we're really here. We're playing for Sunday. We're playing for a championship, and I think that's all that we're really focused on. You wouldn't, looking at this group, talking to all the individuals, talking to a guy like Jake, you can hear him right now, that you wouldn't know that he's up for any of these awards, which is awesome, and I think speaks to the culture, the character of all these guys, and the team that we have, and the locker room that we have, which makes this team that much special.
What have you guys been able to learn from the prior matchup against this New York Atlas team? Obviously, you guys come out on top in overtime, but I think a lot of people forget that you guys were playing on such short rest too. It was the back end of your homecoming weekend. It was an earlier start than what initially was, on the schedule. What did you guys learn from that game to kind of dig deep, leave it all out on the field, because that was your final game of the regular season as well? It allowed you guys to, punch that ticket, get that #1 seed. What learning lessons does a game like that teach you to prepare for a championship?
I think obviously it's short rest. We weren't really thinking of anything, and I think that's the beauty of it, is that we weren't thinking of anything, and we just went out there and played Denver Outlaw lacrosse. So I think that's the biggest thing that we have to bring to Sunday, is that we've already played them. We understand the tendencies and the matchups and everything like that. So it's kind of not matchup based or what the Atlas is going to do. It's all about us and what we need to do and what we need to do inside of our locker room and inside the 19-man roster. It's like we just all have to go out there and play our game and let the game come to us. So
100%. I think you can also tell, tale of two halves in that game, right? That first half was 9-4, I think, at halftime. And you can see how explosive, how dynamic when they're locked in. Atlas, they're a reason why they're here playing us. And then we kind of flipped it a little bit and made it super competitive, and we kind of chipped away at it. But I think that just shows when we're playing well and when we have to execute our game plan, that we can play, again, up to those guys and be in a really competitive game with them, that we have to be sharp for 48 minutes, which we've been harping all week because of how talented they are, and it kind of showed in that first half. So being ready to come right out of the jump, especially after the 2-week break, ready to play those guys, because, again, if you're not ready to go, they're going to put in 6 goals, which they did against the Water Dogs real quick because of how talented they are. So we have to be ready to go.
When you guys found out that both Mike and Jesse were coming back this year, what was that initial feeling like? And What is it like now knowing you're one game away, winning a championship for them, knowing that they invested in this team and said, hey, we're coming back for another ride. We want to get to the top of the mountain. What's it like, having them on this team, and how much do you guys want to go out and finish the job for those two?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you just said. They invested in us, and they've invested so much time into this game, so we need to invest it right back. I think we do this because of them. We do this because of the vets. We do this because of the coaches. For us, it's just kind of like making them happy, and, even though it is individual success at the end of the day, or it's a team success, we eventually do it for those type of guys, because they've invested so much time into this game, into us, into mentoring us young guys, being role models. So at the end of the day, it's just I don't want to disappoint them personally. So, and I know none of us do. So to get that one on Sunday for them would mean the world.
100%. You see it on the weekends too, right? How invested they are. Again, teaching us, coaching us on the sidelines, on the field, just because of all the experience that they have, that value that they bring. But again, during the week too, the value that they bring of being a professional. They've been doing this at this level for how many years each of them have been playing. So just that professionalism, again, that value that they bring as leaders, again, as mentors, guys that, again, we've looked up to since before we were playing professional lacrosse. I mean, you want to do it for the guys like those because of kind of the level that they brought to this program, this organization, the standard that they brought to it, and just giving back to whatever they gave back to us. So definitely excited for that, and you got to leave it all out there for those type of guys.
Boys, best of luck on Sunday.
Appreciate
Give them
it.
hell, and hopefully you guys are, coming out champions and victorious. You guys have worked your asses off and deserve it.
Yes, sir.
Excited about it. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody, we're here at 2025 PLL Championship Media Day with the Denver Outlaws, and we're joined by Justin Anderson. Justin, good to have you on. I feel like we've been culminating to getting you on the show for a long time, and what better place than Championship Media Day?
That's right.
How are you feeling going into your first championship with the Denver Outlaws? Obviously, you were a member of the Chrome as well, but what's that feeling like going into your first PLL championship?
It's exciting, right? I've never had this opportunity before, but to do it with this group, to be here with this group, it's been a long process, but this year's been unbelievable, and having the opportunity to step on the field this Sunday to hopefully win a championship is amazing.
So much talent on this roster, and I think a lot gets lost on you just becoming a Swiss Army knife for this team, playing both ends of the field. What has that transition been like for you, going from early on in your career an offensive midfielder to really switching up your play style and being up and down, back and forth, in a full-fledged, full length of field midfielder for this team?
Yeah, I think for me it's just been about doing whatever it takes to help the team, right? If we need maybe a stop on defense, I'm happy to step in and try my best to do that. If it's maybe scoring in transition or getting a goal, on the crease or whatever it may be, I think that's what makes great teams great, is having guys that can do it all, along with guys that are big-time playmakers. I think for me it's just trying to add whatever I can, whatever value I can to help us win games.
You got to bang the drum at the Philadelphia Union game a couple weeks ago. What was that like for you? You see the video come out, you look like you were just living your best life and just having a blast out there. What was that experience like for you to be a part of, another team that you were playing on their field later on that week, and being part of something that's a part of their culture?
Yeah, it was surreal, honestly. I'd never been to an MLS game before, and they did a great job. Just in general, the crowd was unbelievable. I hope one day we can, sell out stadiums just like that, and to be on the field and bang that drum and have everybody just so excited about the event in and of itself. To be a part of it was really cool. I'd recommend, if anybody has that opportunity to do that, it was cool. Definitely recommend it.
Speaking of fans and everything, the Denver Outlaws have that built-in, MLL fan base and everything. What's it been like, transitioning from you guys being the Chrome, rebranded to the new era of the Denver Outlaws, and absorbing that fan base and knowing how rabid they can be and how much they support you guys? What is it like having that in your corner going into this weekend?
Yeah, honestly, the transition to being a Denver Outlaw has kind of been a dream. I would say that the fan base has been unbelievable. Playing in Denver every single year it's a highlight of every year. And so to have those people in our corner, supporting us, it's huge. I think this weekend, whether they're at the stadium or not at the stadium, watching us from home, they're going to be heavily supporting us, and hoping we can bring it home to Denver this year.
Obviously a little bit of a different format, but you have won a title in the PLL at Champ Series with Chrome. How much of that experience will you take with you on the field on Sunday, knowing that in sixes you have to empty the tank, you have to be back and forth? It's the final 48 minutes of the season. How much of that you take into this game, knowing you got to leave it all out there?
Yeah, that's all that this is, right? Everybody that's ever played in a championship or just in a game in general, you have to empty the tank. And the next time we're going to pick up a lacrosse stick to play in a professional lacrosse game won't be until Champ Series. So why not leave it all out there? Why not give it your best shot? And you don't want to leave anything up to chance. And so I think that's going to be huge for us, is just playing together, playing hard, and seeing what happens, making it happen.
Storyline of this season is obviously the 4 Tewaaraton winners on this roster. What has it been like being teammates with those 4? And the talent that they bring to the table, I think in a lot of situations you could see that not work the way that it has for you guys. But I think the type of people that they are, it's really worked out well for you guys. And obviously their play speaks for itself. But what has that connection been like with those 4 on this roster, and seeing how seamlessly it has worked out?
What I think it comes down to is the culture of this team and the selflessness of this group. So while we have 4 Tewaaraton winners and other national champions on this team, and guys who've played at the highest level, in Division I lacrosse and so on and so forth, it's all about the nature of the guys. The talent level across the board is amazing. The 4 Tewaaraton winners are unbelievable lacrosse players, but they're better people and they're better teammates, and that's what really helps them gel together, and the rest of the guys on the field really gel together.
Was it surreal? It made obviously national headlines when Jared comes onto this team, but was it surreal to find out that it was like actually happening when that comes through? And what type of teammate has he been, getting back into lacrosse? What has that transition been like for him? And you guys just being so welcoming of a player of his caliber back into the sport after spending time in the NFL?
For the past couple of years, I have been hoping and thinking that it was going to happen for some reason, right? I was like, man, Jesse's still playing with us. He's been in the league for a long time. Is Jared ever going to come back and play lacrosse? And so I kind of had this hope, and I spoke with Coach Sedan over the phone when he told me that it was going to happen, the news was going to break out, and I was ecstatic about it. But his transition from playing football in the pros to coming out and playing professional lacrosse has really been seamless. I think because of how great of an athlete he is and his skill set with both hands, it kind of makes him unstoppable in my opinion. And just having that sort of speed out there, it goes along, with him being a great lacrosse player, great person, you want the best for him. It makes it easy to cheer him on, and he's been amazing for this team.
When you see Brennan O'Neill score goals between his legs backwards, hit step back 2-pointers, and then off the field just see how even-keeled and humble he is, how special of a teammate is Brennan O'Neill?
Yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes I don't think he understands the level of play that he has. He's such a nice guy off the field. He's very quiet, even keel, and then he does things on the field that us as teammates and people in general, we just look at and we're like, how did he do that, right? He does things at practice and you just think, like, I could never do that. How does he do that? And, he doesn't score at practice and boast about it. It's like, that's him. That's what he can do, and he's a special lacrosse player. He's a special person.
How beneficial is it for you guys going into a matchup against the New York Atlas, knowing they have somebody like Danny Logan, but in practice you get to be alongside someone like Ryan Tarafanko, who those two are well regarded as 2 of, if not the 2 best short stick defensive midfielders in the game? How beneficial is it to have someone like Terry on this roster to really help you guys with nuances and intricacies that Danny could present in a championship game?
Yeah, Danny's a phenomenal player, and playing against him for the past few years in the pro level, college level, he's been amazing, right? Also, I've had the opportunity to play against Terry for a very long time, and Terry's skill set is so unbelievable on the defensive end, but also in transition. So, both of those players are awesome to have the ability to train against Terry at practice all the time. It's definitely going to help us moving forward into this game. I think the fact of the matter is the short stick D midi position has really evolved. The players are unbelievable at what they do, how they can stay in front of guys. It's very similar, in my opinion, to a cornerback in the NFL having to stay with these extremely fast, extremely talented wide receivers. And so I think we're seeing that at this level where these short stick D-middies are bought into being the best of their position, and they are incredible players.
Coach Sudan has really laid a foundation of culture since the moment he took over as head coach of this team, dating back to the Chrome, and guys like John Brannigan, Jordan McIntosh, Galloway, Joel White, like those were guys that even after they retired were still talked about in this locker room, and then that gets passed on to guys like Jesse Bernhardt and Mike Manley and yourself included. Like, what does it mean to know that there's been this long-standing foundational presence of a culture in your guys' locker room, even though it didn't necessarily lead to success, but it really shaped to where you guys are now?
Yeah, I think with the culture aspect is when you have a great culture, you want to come to practices, you want to be a part of the games, you want to be a part of every single weekend, and that's something that's really special. The Premier Lacrosse League, it's difficult to win a single game, right? And so we've had up and downs throughout my career with Coach Sudo. But the fact of the matter is every weekend I come out and I'm excited to be around the guys, and I'm ecstatic to be involved with the culture of this program. So just kind of looking forward, it's amazing being part of this group, and I would love nothing more than this group to win a championship because Sudo has been doing this for forever, and I know that he wants it. I know that we all want it. It'd be really cool to do it for all of us.
What would it also mean to get to the mountaintop as the Denver Outlaws when you have Mr. Outlaw as a part of this team in Eric Law?
Yeah, it's amazing. Having him a part of this program is awesome. Last year he was a huge factor in everything that we did, right? His leadership, who he is as a person, and honestly, to be able to have him step on the field again with us in Denver was incredible, right? I think having him on this roster, if we can win another championship with him, it's cool. It'll be really fun.
Well, Justin, I appreciate the time. Wishing you the best of luck. You've been one of my favorite players since you've been in the league, so it's a pleasure to sit down with you and give him hell on Sunday, and hopefully Justin Anderson will have PLL champion next to his name by the end of the day.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody, we're here at the 2025 PLL Championship Media Day with the Denver Outlaws, and joining us, one of the best in the game, JT Giles-Harris. JT, congratulations on making it to your first PLL Championship game. What's the vibe for you personally, just knowing all the hard work you put in, one of the tail-end OG members of the Chrome, and building to this moment for you guys? What's it been like knowing that you're going to be competing for a championship on Sunday?
Yeah, thanks for having me, first of all. But yeah, it's cool. It's a culmination of, even years before I got here, kind of just what Sudo has built and what he developed even when he was with the Rattlers and those guys. I think that kind of still lives on in our locker room and kind of what we're about. So it's cool of just, figuring out, and, credit to them, Coach Sudo, Monty, Bolte, and, coaches before, just figuring out what's right for this team. So, yeah, it took some time, but we finally made it work, obviously, and it's just pretty, it's exciting, but trying to just make sure it's, it's another game. I don't think we're overwhelmed at all. I think we're pretty ready. So, yeah, it's cool where we're finally at, but just, kind of just treating it like business.
How special has this season been knowing, going into the year, Mike and Jesse both say, hey, we're going to invest in this team again. We're going to come back and run it back. Next to you, obviously, what was that moment like for you, finding out they were coming back, and then how special has this season been knowing that, they chose to come back and they're playing alongside you each and every weekend, and how much you've learned from them over the years?
Yeah, no, some of us thought it was going to happen the year before too, which makes it even cooler, obviously, and, hearing how they made the decisions and why, which is just so, pretty touching and emotional, obviously, for both of them. So obviously we kind of feel that and appreciate it, and obviously we love those guys. They're our two leaders, they're really core of who we're about and what we do, I think, both of them. So, yeah, we couldn't be more happy and grateful that really they chose to stay with this team. I think that's telling of, again, what we're building, what we're kind of about. So, yeah, obviously if we can get this for them too, especially, it is kind of on top of our mind. Like, that would just be the culmination of so many years. They've put together about, a 30-year career probably in total. I don't know how long they've been playing, but it's, it's pretty cool.
Your brother plays in the NFL. Jared Bernhardt comes onto this team early in the season. to see how quickly he transitioned back to lacrosse and knowing what your brother has to go through to, be prepared week in and week out for the NFL, and seeing Jared play at the NFL level and now on this roster, how cool and special was it to kind of just watch it all click back for him so quickly?
Yeah, it's definitely, incredible. I don't want to say I'm necessarily surprised because of who Jared is, and even just playing against him and, seeing him in action and live, like, you're really not surprised how quickly he picked it up. He's one of the most competitive people you'll meet, especially on our team. He works super hard every day. He's out there shooting, trying to figure things out. So it's awesome. Like, you're like, wow, first, again, it took one practice. We're like, wow, this guy's speed is incredible. And then all of a sudden the skill was back too. So yeah, it's incredible how he's able to just kind of go from one sport and, again, picked off like he never left.
To have not one but 2 MVP candidates on this roster this year, just talk about how special it's been to watch, this entire offense kind of come together so quickly, but then to see the fruits of the labor pay off and Brennan and Pat both nominated for the MVP award.
Yeah, it's cool. Pat coming to this team was awesome, just kind of the juice he has and who he is as a winner. Obviously his career at Notre Dame and a competitor as well, just kind of bringing that fire to us. So having him, play with that chip all the time on his shoulder is something that's awesome that we can always kind of just rely on and continue to rely on. And, Brennan obviously is just Brennan doing Brennan things, which are pretty unbelievable sometimes, really all the time. So, kind of the combo of those two guys, and they're really good friends. They've grown up together, kind of played against each other. Obviously, they talk to each other every day. They room together on the weekend. So just having them two succeed like they're succeeding in really both their second years is pretty cool to watch.
How special is it for you to once again be nominated for multiple awards this year, and each year when you see your name listed amongst those finalists, how cool and surreal is that for you?
Yeah, definitely cool. I appreciate it. I try not to let it go in my head. I'm glad I have a good team, obviously, to kind of fall back on, because it's really a team award of what goes on behind you and what goes on in the ball, but then just a good family and social circle to fall back on as well. So it's definitely humbling, and I really appreciate what what other people think about me, which is cool.
JT, it is always a pleasure to watch you out there on the field, man, and looking forward to seeing you compete in your first championship. Best of luck on Sunday, and give them hell, man.
Awesome, appreciate it. Thank you.
Shout out to the Outlaws boys for hopping on with us at Media Day, an absolute blast. And like I said, everyone, you heard it. If we had infinite funds, I would hire Nick Grill on the spot, because that dude is a weapon on the mic. It doesn't come across on the interview, obviously, but every time somebody from the Outlaws during Media Day portion with the Outlaws was happening, anytime someone got pulled for an interview, Nick Grill was just hyping him up. Was like, all right, Manley. Okay, Pat. Like, anytime they went to any of the stations, he was just like loud, like juice guy. It was so fucking funny.
I mean, those kind of guys exist on a team for a reason. I mean,
it was so good.
Nick Grill does his part on the field, but I'm sure his energy on the sideline and off the field is equally as important.
Big juice guy. I loved it. It could have been anybody. It could have been superstar to anyone else. It was just like their nickname or their name, and he was just like clapping it up. I was like, this guy fucking rocks. So happy to have Nick Grill on the show, as well as all the other Outlaws boys that joined us. Deej, there's one final thing to do here to preview this PLL Championship game. So we are going to head on over to the pick pond, feed some ducks.
Time. It's PLL season.
And for the final time, as you just mentioned, this 2025 PLL season, it is the PLL Championship Pick of the Week, brought to you by our friends at Kenwood Beer, the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV, 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. You guys can go to kenwoodbeer.com, use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Maryland, New Jersey, and, of course, Delaware. You can also find Kenwood Beer at local liquor stores in those markets. Again, that's kenwoodbeer.com. Must be 21 or older to do so. And, of course, guys, please drink and celebrate responsibly. Deej, one final pick for the whole shebang. I think we all know where Hoots is picking. where do you have the 2025 PLL Championship game on your radar?
2 great seasons by 2 great teams, all commencing to 1 point in North Jersey. Should be an exciting game. I think both offenses are going to come out and do their thing. And like I said, it pretty much comes down to those special teams. And this season just feels like a special season. And it feels like that season that they not only get over the hump, but they complete the ultimate goal. I didn't want to say at the beginning of the year that Atlas was going to win a championship because that seems like too much of a prediction. Like just too much conviction for a prediction. But now that they're here after I said they would be, it just feels like their year. I haven't chosen them a lot this year, but this is a moment that I will be. Atlas are your 2025 PLL champions, according to me.
I thoroughly enjoyed getting to know a bunch of these guys, and you guys know that like we have such a close relationship with a number of guys on both teams too, for a multitude of reasons. And no matter what the result is, I'm going to be thrilled for our guys, and especially the guys that we just collected at Media Day to make hashtag our guys. So no matter the result, I'm going to be thrilled for so many people because both of these teams wildly deserving after the seasons they've had. I haven't had a heart pick for this one, so I just have to go with my gut, and everything in this one is just telling me Outlaws by 1. I think it's a 1-score game, a 1-goal game at that, and something just tells me the way that, there's no script writing in the PLL. It'd be silly to think that, but just the storyline of this Outlaws season from where it began, the Pat Kavanagh trade, drafting Logan McNaney, Jared Bernhardt, you have the Taforoton offense. It just feels like it's their year. And for that reason alone and just that feeling in my gut, I'm going with the Outlaws to be your 2025 PLL champs.
Look at you. We're split. Well, technically not because of Hoots. So you know what? If I win, I'm talking trash in the GC. I'm talking cash.
So there you have it. Our 2025 PLL Championship Game Pick of the Week, brought to you by Kenwood Beer. One final thing, we're going to go in depth on it a lot more next week just because we had the interviews and everything, but I did want to touch on it because it happened this week and I'm so stoked about it. The WLL is going to a full season in 2026, Deej. We did it, Joe. We did it. I'm so happy.
And I do want to say, as unfortunate as it is for Athletes Unlimited to not be doing lacrosse anymore, I do want to partially thank them for this because I don't think WLL reaches this moment so quickly if it wasn't for Athletes Unlimited folding out. They were trying to go in tandem with them. Like, hey, they do Athletes Unlimited, then they hit WLL, and they go back and forth between the two until we can make this a more solidified thing. Athletes Unlimited wasn't feeling it, so now we're going to see the WLL become maybe what the WPLL was supposed to be back in 2019. They have a lot of old ideas they're ready to bring in, and there's tons of new ideas already spewing in the minds. So I'm really excited at the fact that we're going to get a full season. We're going to get multiple jerseys now for these teams, and they're going to be traveling in markets, etc. So it's going to be really exciting.
It's
10v10. Yeah. Just like that All-Star game, so it's going to be really exciting. The 2-point arc is going to be there. Like, I am here for this.
Rosters are expanding to 23, which is just too shy of the men's roster.
But then game day will be 17 or 19 or whatever. Okay.
But I think
I was about to say, dang, they get a 23 game day roster in PLL, though? What is this?
Yeah, so full roster will be 23. There will be the roster expansion, and there will be a draft, which I'm so stoked about. And if I had to be a betting man on this, we get PLL draft one day, WLL draft the next day. That's going to be super exciting for just a draft-filled weekend.
I also could see them doubling up
in tandem. Yeah, I could see
because
that happening too.
they're not really that long of drafts at the moment, so you can go back to back and have them one after another. So that may also be the plan too, just to have those. It reminds me a lot of like Selection Sunday. Like the eyes are there, the sport eyes are there, so you might as well just do them back to back while you have everybody, and then you move on from there.
Yeah, and then or you do like women, the WL draft at like 4 p.m., PLL draft at 8 p.m., and then it's same day, but then they each have their own time slot to have the attention focused on them. And then it's the 4 original teams in 2026. So it'll be New York Charging, Boston Guard, California Palms, Maryland Charm, and Paul talked about it in the State of the League that was recorded at this past year's PLL draft that came out mid-season. The goal is to get every team in the PLL to have a WLL companion, so that way when individualized owners become the move, you have double entities to sell to those owners, and then you can work both of those teams in tandem. I'm super stoked, though, because we've gotten a number of opportunities to talk to a bunch of the WLL players. We're super in lockstep with, obviously, Mama Skane and Lizzie Colson and Izzy and Charlotte and the rest of them, and I'm just so like, the women's game is so fucking fun, and the way that the WLL puts on the product makes women's lacrosse that much more of an entity of an enjoyable product to watch too. I can't wait for 2026 with the WLL.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Obviously, we don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm prepped for it.
Full season too, 10 or 11 games. So let's go, ladies. Let's go. Shout out to Rachel DeCecco too.
Fantastic.
Let's go. That's all we got for you guys on this one. Make sure you're following us on the socials at OTB LaxPod. Subscribe to the pod, Apple and Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@undergroundsportsphiladelphia and youtube.com/@OTB LaxPod. Leave a like on the video. Drop a comment in the comment section. Click that bell icon so you know when new videos go live. Deej and I will be at Sports Illustrated Stadium on Sunday, taking in all the action. First look at your new champion when it's all said and done. We'll have instant reactions, kind of like we did semifinals weekend as well. And looking forward to another PLL Championship game this Sunday at 12:30 Eastern in North Jersey. But this has been episode number 392 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA, number 11 Philadelphia ranked, and of course viewable on YouTube, Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. Also want to give a big shout out to our boy RJ Clip That, Ryan Tessier, who popped out to Media Day and photographed the whole thing for us. He is a legend. But for Deej, for Jeff Teat, Connor Shellenberger, Coach Cino, Coach Brooks, Trevor Baptiste, Danny Logan, Pat Kavanagh, Mike Manley, JT Giles-Harris, Justin Anderson, Jake Piseno, and Nick Grill, I'm KB. We'll see you from Sports Illustrated Stadium on Sunday. But until then, we're getting the heck up out of here. Peace.
Peace.